welcome back to my channel. My name is Casey with Knits by Casey, if you are new here, where I review knitting patterns and yarns, and I just like to talk about knitting. I'm not used to seeing myself with makeup on. It looks weird. I always feel like I did it wrong. That's my dog, Luna. Hi. Um, Today I wanted to review another garment that I have. It is a very popular sweater on Ravelry. There's got to be more websites where you can get patterns than just Ravelry. I know, but this is the Avena Sweater. It is a stranded colorwork sweater with a stranded colorwork yoke. Just the yoke. The sleeves are just knit pretty plain. I used Cascade 220 Superwash, which comes in 220 yards. It's a very popular yarn that I bought off of Webs. This is a worsted weight yarn, and one thing I learned that working with superwash wool is that it definitely can change your gauge and alter it, and it stretches. Like the sweater is a bit longer than I thought it would be, and the sleeves are just a bit. I mean, it fits. It's not bad, but superwash wool, which I found out after I made the sweater, and after I made the sweater, I watched another video on using superwash wool for sweaters or garments that typically require a strict gauge for size, is that it can stretch. I really haven't worn it. I only washed it, and it's great because it's superwash. This can kind of be like an everyday sweater. So maybe something I could abuse and not feel so bad about. But another thing that's at least good about superwash wool is that in the dyeing process, well, because of whatever process they use to make it superwash wool, it really absorbs colors and they're just really vibrant. I used Cascade 220 Superwash on the collar and the body of the sweater, so it's all the same. What I found is that with this particular yarn, it doesn't pill, as wool shouldn't, even superwash should not. But it's very, very thick where I did all the color work, and it's like 2 to 3 times as thick here than it is for the body. So I mean, it's like 95 degrees outside right now, so I really don't want to wear it. But I'm afraid that I'll just get really hot. Like it's difficult to see like on camera, but this is like really, I don't want to say flimsy, and then this just feels like it's 2 to 3 times thicker, and that is also a problem that you could possibly run into with color work. This is the first color work project I ever did. I do think it is beginner friendly. My first time that I was ever reading a chart, also very simple and beginner friendly. It is a paid pattern, so I can't go into too much detail of that, but the chart was pretty simple. The only question I had was just the wording in the pattern. It said something like, repeat this chart like 26 times. And what that meant was that it is like a 26 repeats around, not complete the chart and do it 26 times. Yeah, I know. So that was the only question I had with the pattern, and everything else was like really straightforward. That's probably why it's such a popular pattern, because how easy it is and beginner friendly, but you also produce like this amazing sweater. I'm looking at it right now on the camera. It just looks so vibrant. I did also learn about, let's look back. What did I learn about with my first colorwork stranded colorwork pattern was color dominance. So some some lines up here. Let's see if I can find it. No one would know unless you're a knitter or me, or when you're looking at your own project, you're like, oh, there's the mistake. Yeah, I learned about some color dominance in the very beginning, so you can kind of see where it almost looks like it's skipped a little bit, but it's not. It's there. It's just not there. Sometimes you could like pull it through. Um, yeah, it's just not. It's not the dominant color that you're seeing. So I learned about color dominance. I learned that superwash wool stretches when you make a garment out of it, so it could affect your gauge. But the good thing is that it comes in vibrant colors, and it's relatively inexpensive, I'd say. This took me from start to finish when I put it on my needles to when I got it off, probably 6 months, I'd say. Yeah, some life things happened, and this took about 6 months. It's not pilling, but I find that it's doing this a little bit. I just washed it once. I haven't even worn it because I finished this in like May, so I haven't worn it. It's just been sitting around, but it's time to review the pattern. I would make it again. I just showed my mom the picture, and she hasn't actually seen it in person. She's visiting this week. I don't think she lives in Florida. She wouldn't need a sweater this heavy anyway. She's like, I want that. I'll pay for the yarn, and I wouldn't use this yarn for someone who lives in Florida. That's for sure. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look at the pattern again. If it calls for a worsted weight yarn, are you supposed to? No, I think this was a worsted weight yarn, and you do hold it singly. It's not held double. Yeah, you can definitely tell that it's handmade because my cuffs are of different lengths. Awesome. But let's go check out the pattern or elements of the pattern that I can talk about. So here is the Avena Sweater by Jennifer Steingis. I recently discovered more of her designs that I added to my favorited or my favorites list. She has some really beautiful patterns, but this is one of her popular ones. I don't know if it's just because of the design or how easy it is, but I do agree with this overall rating of 4.8 stars or 5 stars. It's very easy. It comes in, I think, just charted and written instructions, depending on what portion of the pattern that you're looking at. But there are multiple sizes to choose from, and I mean, you could really just get creative with all the colors. I chose to do 2 colors on the stranded colorwork portion, but as you can see here, you can really just make it 1. Yeah, that's the fun part, is that you can get really creative with the colors, which is what I liked. But I would make it again, and my mom wants me to make it, so we will see what happens with that. But I really liked it. Very easy, simple pattern. Once you get past the color work portion of it, though, it's pretty much a TV knit. Okay, so one more thing. Back to the yarn. This is the yarn, the Cascade 220 Superwash, 100% Superwash wool. They say it's a light 3, despite it being a worsted weight yarn. I don't think this is a 3 by any means. Because that sweater turned out to be heavier than I thought, and it's a little looser than I anticipated. But I can't remember how many of these I actually used for it, but I have a lot left over, so my gauge was not so close. Because I think at some point I just did it based off of sleeve length and size. Yeah, I had a lot of leftover yarn. But I did make a baby blanket out of this, and it came out great. So I think this is a great, like, utility yarn, I guess, if you want to make a sweater that you're going to use and abuse and wear all the time. It wasn't a bad choice. It wasn't a bad choice with a baby blanket either, because you got to think about the level of care sometimes. Not everyone is going to want something that they have to wash by hand or understand that level of care and what you need to do for the wool wash portion of it. But it was good for a baby blanket. I just, if you do use it for the sweater, um, this portion is going to be really, really thick compared to the rest of the body. But other than that, I don't have any problems with it. I haven't worn it. I don't know what it's going to look like in 10 washes from now, but that could be another video for the wintertime. So, thank you for watching if you've made it this far. And hit that like and subscribe button if you want or dislike. Update on the swatch for the Arctic Light sweater by Kutuvakika. I'm trying to swatch on the round, and I started out with size 8 needles, and these are size 6, US 6, on the Rowan Alpaca DK. And then it turns out, this is also very soft, by the way. I cannot make the sweater out of it. I didn't swatch with the mohair because the mohair is very hairy. Unlike the fuzz, can get really caught into things. And if you've ever tried frogging anything with mohair, it's practically a nightmare. But this is very soft, and the stitch definition is great. But the swatch is not in stockinette, so this is useless. Other than letting me know that stitch definition is great and it's soft, as far as gauge and size goes, it's practically useless. Turns out the swatch for the Arctic Light sweater is in the cable pattern, and a part of me is just lazy, and I think I might just go down a needle size and call it good, because knitting the cable pattern on 100 and something stitches just to see if I get the right gauge kind of seems like a waste of time. But yeah, update on second sweater work in progress. I'm trying to be a good knitter and actually get gauge for once, and I don't think it's gonna happen. So yeah, that's where we're at. But anyway, back on topic. Like and subscribe if you will. Comment, follow me on Instagram, email me. I appreciate the subscribes. Kind of helps me to keep going. And I'll see you next week.